Hey guys, welcome in. Happy Saturday. We are hitting our stride this season. We've got enough of a sample size at this point, get a better idea of kind of what we should realistically be expecting along the way. And so that is what we are going to talk about today on Dynasty in 30 is Dynasty fact or fiction. We've got these players performing above or below expectation. And Tim and I, we're going to talk about, do we expect that to continue or not? And, what does that do to our current season and future season valuation estimates? Hang tight, you guys, because this is Dynasty in 30.
You're watching Dynasty in 30, only on Fantasy Now Plus.
Hello. I am Will U. Ryan, the fantasy philosopher, joined again by my co-host, Tim Holstad. Before we get going, we've got some quick reminders. Dynasty in 30, it's a Fantasy Now Plus show. It's brought to you courtesy of Finn's Talk Sports Network. You can catch us live each Saturday on the Fantasy Now Plus YouTube channel or on FTSN Extra. You want to make sure to check out all of the other content we've got on the website. We've got written content across all sorts of various fantasy football formats. That's just at fantasynowplus.com. The site also contains weekly rankings, game picks, much more. Am I forgetting anything, Tim? What do we got out there?
I've got a whole bunch of underdog content, especially in the written sphere. As you can see in the graphic down below, play $5, get $100 in bonus with the promo code FN+. Yeah, a lot of fun stuff to be found on the website for sure.
Awesome. And you'll definitely want to check out the rest of our weekly shows. Tomorrow morning, we've got last minute fantasy football advice with Pudge for a change. I guess Pudge is usually there, but Justin's going to be out of the country. So we're trying to hold down the fort and not leave things burning for when he gets back. Monday, we're going to have the latest episode of Cold Brews and Hot Takes. Tuesday, you can find Priority Waiver Show. Wednesday, we get the double dip. You got the Start Sit Showdown during the day, Fantasy Rankings Report in the evening. Thursday, we kind of switch focus over towards DFS. You got the Get Tilted show. And then Friday, we've got an IDP show. So really, there's something for everyone throughout the week. Definitely check out the other shows. It's all great content. Definitely love to get comments during the shows to help answer questions along the way. So glad to have anybody and everyone there. If you have not already, please make sure to like and subscribe. Everything should be below. It really helps us out. We love it. Helps the algorithm. Algorithm loves us. We love you. Everybody's happy. It's how we roll. So, Tim, how has this week been treating you? I'm really hoping it's better than the Eagles.
We're in the dredges now, man. There's so many injuries just everywhere. I think like half of all players in the 49ers Bucks game are just out. Like, it is, as I have stolen from the fantasy footballers, it is truly nasty boy season. There are starts that I am having to make in some leagues that just feel disgusting. But, we're charging through. We're ready for week 6, and Dynasty goes ever on forward.
Hey, I'm just saying, I went out and started Rico Dowdle last week, so I call it nasty if you want, but those things pay off.
Oh yeah.
So today, kind of talking about Dynasty fact or fiction. Where are these players performing compared to their expectations, and just really kind of turning that into a Dynasty perspective, because in this day and age, everyone needs instant gratification. Seems like someone makes a reception and their Dynasty value shifts. So let's talk a little bit about quarterbacks at first. If I'm being honest, I kind of feel like the performances have been really solid this year from QB. I think more players are really overachieving than falling short. And the ones that are not really performing, it's more because of injury than poor play for the most part.
Yeah.
So let's start on a positive note here. Dak Prescott. Okay, we brought him in. He was drafted as QB 11 this year in redraft. So, I mean, expected to kind of be a QB 1 this year. A little bit older for Dynasty, but I mean, he's off to a QB 5 start so far. Are you buying what he's selling here? Is this like his range of production? And like, is this going to continue? What are you doing with him in season and kind of as we turn the page from 2025 into the off season?
I believe in Dak. I always have. I think this season has honestly gone not the way that we kind of collectively expected it for Dallas. We thought this run game is going to be trash. Dak is going to have to throw the ball an insane amount of times. And he still is, but also their running game is not trash. Javonte Williams has been reincarnated. So, and he's missing CeeDee Lamb for pretty much the whole season so far. I'm buying what Dak is selling. He's only 32. That's not that old in quarterback years. He's, he left his mobile rushing quarterback days behind several knee injuries ago at this point. So he kind of is what he is. But what he is maybe like a minor league version of Joe Burrow, where you give him great weapons and you give him even a competent offensive line, and he's just going to give you fantasy points. So for me personally, I'm buying Dak. He's the ideal QB2 in Superflex. I think he's right on the cusp of being a perfectly fine QB1 in one quarterback leagues. Maybe if you have a couple of younger guys behind him just to see if any of them develop and can overtake. But I think Dak is a buy. I don't imagine he would be overly expensive. Probably right now would be about as expensive as he'll be in season, but I like it.
Yeah, I try and think. I'm kind of with you there on Dak. I've kind of had a soft spot for him kind of throughout the years. He is one of those guys that just always seems to produce. He'd have his bad stretches, but I mean, when you're getting into this level of QB, I think there's the elites and then there's everyone else. And if you're playing well at the moment, the everyone else's get valued higher, and the people that aren't performing or they're hurt, they get dropped down further and further and become cheaper. I think for the most part, if I am not competing, I'm absolutely shopping Dak. I mean, I don't think it's unreasonable to ask for a first in Superflex. Getting a QB2 that is producing at this level, it makes a big difference on a competing team. And I mean, frankly, if they're buying QB2 production there, like that should be giving them a pretty big advantage in the season. So that first that they're giving up probably is going to end up being later, which I think ends up being kind of a fair price to help a contender compete this year. And frankly, it helps you out too, because you get the points off your roster. I know many leagues these days are going reverse best ball or reverse max best possible points to determine draft order. I personally like that. I think it opens up the trade market a little bit more, because you get the people get a few of their stars injured, and it's like, well, I'm not competing this season. I better get everybody else off my roster. So you start seeing deals go, and it's like it starts with a fire sale. So yeah, I'm with you. I think even if you can't get a first for Dak, I mean, I think his value is definitely higher than it's going to be, even heading into next season. I think it's quarterback's one of those positions that is what have you done for me lately? When you get the hot hand at QB, I think it makes sense to buy the hump, I guess. Like if it's usually buying the dip, buy the hump when they actually produce. And then, once he stops producing, maybe you look at then acquiring him back for less than what you sold him off for, turn a little profit there in the off season. Another guy, similar situation, although I think kind of more on the back burner for dynasty managers. Matthew Stafford looks really good this year. And I mean, I forget where he was. He was going like late for redraft. Everyone was worried about that back injury. I mean,
Yeah.
he is old, even in quarterback years.
Yep.
I mean, he's in at QB6. I think I'm looking it up now. It looks like he was going as QB 23 for redraft, performing at QB6. I mean, that is found money as your QB2. Same situation? Are you handling him differently because of his age or because of the play style and situation? What's the difference here between like Dak and Matthew Stafford?
It's definitely tough. He's so much older. That back has been a problem for like a decade now at this point, but it's kind of just ever looming of like he could just retire tomorrow and he will have accomplished pretty much everything in his career at this point. I don't think he's going to be the type of quarterback that's like record chasing. I think he's a premium buy for contenders for sure. I would even consider, if you're just like very firmly in first or second place, I would consider my first for him because
Okay.
I don't see a reason why he stops producing this season. Puka is him, and Devontae has just become one of the best red zone threats for the Rams that they've ever had. So it's kind of like a perfect supporting cast for Stafford, and McVay is still McVay. So if he's on your team and you're not in the playoff hunt, I would definitely be looking to offload him. Again, he's one of those assets right now where he's just going to stop having value one day, and you can't really predict when it's going to happen. So if you're not trying to win or trying to get in the hunt to win, I don't think you need to have any interest in him. But I think if you're a fringe team, I do think he's worth going after, because while I think a first is reasonable to pay at the back end, I don't think you're going to have to. I think you could get him for a second and like a flex bench wide receiver. Yeah. A Xavier Legette in a second. Like, I'll do that for Matthew Stafford.
Oh, man. I wasn't thinking that fake of a player, but
hey, people like young first round picks, and they're like, oh, QJ ascended. Let's see if Legette will ascend.
Yeah.
So
I think I'm along the same lines. I think I'm a little bit lower in terms of value just because, I mean, like you said, it really could be end of this year is just the end for him. But I think that ends up getting baked into his cost, like you were saying. I don't think you need to pay a first for Stafford. So if you can go out and get him for, even a second plus, I think if he turns your kind of like trying to squeak into the playoffs into a legitimate contender because you're actually, solidified at, I mean, frankly, the guy's producing at QB5 and QB6, like that can legitimately be a QB1 for you, even if, I mean, ideally you've got one of the elites already, but there's only 4 of them to go around, 5 of them maybe. So
only 4 this year.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, having these guys even sliding into your QB1 is a win for you at this point.
Yep.
Yeah, I would definitely, I would look to package some of the younger players that haven't really hit their stride yet. I'd probably try and avoid rookies this year, just because I like to be more patient with rookies in general, but like second year players that just haven't hit the way that we hoped they would last year and into this year. I'm struggling to think of a good example, but Xavier Legette, I think is along the right lines. But I'd be willing to go even a little bit higher. I think Legette's value has dropped quite a bit. Like, I'm not worried about giving away receivers that could produce in the wide receiver 3 range. There's just it's so replaceable that if I can give that away and get a QB1 for the rest of the season to help me compete, I'm going to do that every year. Like, if I'm trying to compete, that's a trade I'm making every day. solidify a position that has scarcity by selling a position that does not have scarcity. That's a winning strategy every day and all weekend.
Yep.
So, any other thoughts on QB before we move on? I know we've kind of only talked about 2, but I don't know that there's a lot else out there.
There's one young guy that's flashing that I want to affirm is factual. It is Drake May.
Okay.
I think he's the real deal. I really do. I think he has shown development this year from his rookie year. He finally has a core of weapons around him that are at least passable in the NFL. He still doesn't really have good weapons, to be honest. The only one that they have, they refuse to use for Mike Vrabel reasons. So he
one more injury and it's time.
Apparently. I'm not going to get started on that. We'll go for 2 hours if I get started on the Patriots. But yeah, I think Drake May has shown the decision making. He's shown the ability to hit all parts of the field. He has the arm strength. He runs the ball. The offense is not abysmal anymore and will most likely continue to improve over the next couple of years. I think May has all the talent in the world to be a quarterback 5 to 8 range in Dynasty kind of moving forward.
That was going to be the question, is like, where do you see him? Because you kind of got the elite 4, the rushing score QBs. Yep. You got Burrow in there. Mahomes, Herbert are kind of making a comeback, kind of battling it out for that QB 6-ish. And then I think after that's kind of where I see May, although he's probably getting into that Herbert Mahomes discussion at this point.
Yeah.
If Mahomes didn't have that contract, I think I would drop him down. But
yeah,
they're actually throwing the ball down the field this year. I feel like his value is rebounding a little bit. So,
yep.
Yeah,
I think he's basically just Justin Herbert, like without the 4,000 yard passing year yet.
Yep.
But they're basically the same player. Otherwise.
I like it. I think that's a really good comparison. I don't think people were expecting too much from Herbert when he got started either. So,
yep.
Let's flip over then to running backs. Here, I think we do have more underperformers. So kind of, if we start at the top from redraft, the first guy I really want to hit on is Derrick Henry. He was drafted as the running back 5 in PPR redraft leagues. And I mean, I think we all know why. Like, the dude was killing it last year.
Yep.
So far, he's running back 23 on the season. He is 31. Like, is Father Time catching up? Where do you fall on this one?
He's a nuanced discussion, but to make it semi-short, the Ravens defense is just the worst defense I've ever seen this year. I have, obviously injuries happened, but you would expect a defense that good to have contingency plans to keep them passable, but they are just atrocious at every phase of the game for defense. And Derrick Henry doesn't score points on losing trailing teams. He just doesn't. He never has for the Titans. He never has for the games that the Ravens have to pass a lot. They just have had to pass a lot in every game this year. So it's just not coming to him. And when Lamar gets back in week 8, it'll be interesting to see where this team stands. I don't think you can have a team with Lamar Jackson at quarterback and be like, we're going for the number 1 pick. Whether they can control that or not is a different question. But as far as intentions, they're going to try and win every game. They're going to try and get back into the playoff hunt. The division is winnable. I don't believe in the Steelers whatsoever, despite them being 4-1. So I think for Henry, he's a sneaky buy if you're a contender. I don't think he's actually dropped off from a talent standpoint. I think the game situations have just been absolutely terrible for him in every single game, pretty much.
See, I hate this. We're agreeing way too much so far. I'm 100% with you. I think this is actually fiction on Derrick Henry. I think the narrative all at the beginning of the season has been how tough the Ravens' schedule was. And just to remind people, last year in games where the Ravens were favored, so not even that they won, just that they went in expected to win, he averaged 118 rushing yards a game.
Yeah.
Like, and remember, they were favored a lot. Like, this is not, oh, they were favored 3 times and we're cherry picking a great performance. Like, it was double digit games where they were favorites. He averaged 118 yards per game.
And he ran
Their schedule so far: Buffalo, Cleveland's defense, Detroit, Kansas City, and then they had to play Houston with Cooper Rush. Like, things get so much easier starting in week 8 when they get out of their bye. I'm with you. This is an absolute buying window for Derrick Henry, because I think he's going to be a top 8 running back the second half of the season. And I think you can go out and very, very cheaply acquire him and get RB1 production for, typically where you'd be spending a first plus. I think you could get him for a second plus, like second and third might be able to do it. 2 seconds, I'm happy to pay. He is probably one of my prime targets for any contender that needs any sort of running back help.
Yep. And he's more than likely on a middling team because they were probably expecting.
Yeah, the buying window is absolutely open for him there. It's one of those. Tim, looks like you're a little bit frozen there, so hopefully we can get you back here in just a little bit. After this. Oh, Keaton time after the bye. We'll see. I do like Keaton. I think he's one of those players who is essentially free at this point. That, I mean, he should be on rosters. If Derrick Henry does go down, like, I know he's not human, but if for some reason he is, I mean, Keaton would pick up the early down rushing, and at that point, like, with their schedule in the back half of the season, I think anyone could produce in that offense. So Keaton's shown he's got juice. Absolutely get him picked up as a kind of a contingency. But the other guy I really wanted to talk about for running backs is Chase Brown. Kind of one of those fringe RB1 situations. There were a lot of debates about like Brown and Bucky, very similar situations of guys who were kind of projected to own their backfield on good offenses. Obviously, the Bengals have lost Joe Burrow, but Chase Brown, even after that, I mean, he's only running back 32 on the year. Like, that is, with the amount of work he's getting, you would still expect more from that. And I mean, frankly, it almost just goes to show you how Joe Burrow really should be in the MVP discussion, even though he's going to miss most of the season. And I mean, I don't see a way for Cincinnati to really turn this around without Burrow. So I think the thing to kind of keep in mind is, where do you see this going with when Burrow does get back? Is we haven't really seen much Taj Brooks yet at all, even with all of the struggles. Chase Brown is still dominating that work. We kind of knew that Perrine was going to eat into the longer down and distance stuff. That was kind of coming out before. Yeah, and looks like Chris is kind of calling that out, that Perrine's been taking more and more of the pie. In my mind, honestly, that's more the long down and distance stuff. I'm not so worried about Chase Brown as the rushing option. I think he's still going to get 70-75% of the rushing work there. And in that offense with Joe Burrow, that's going to be extremely valuable. It's going to end up being an extremely valuable backfield. So my take on this is Chase Brown's actually a buy, but it's a buy for the future. I think you can get him at a discounted price, and I don't see why he would be valued any differently going into next year than this year. I am a Taj Brooks truther. So Chris, I'm with you here. I wish we were seeing more Taj. But the fact of the matter is that the Bengals aren't playing him much. So you would think they would want to get a look at what they've got in their rookie. Maybe they're just trying to protect him a little bit in a bad situation. But we also have to be open to the fact that maybe we're just wrong and maybe Taj isn't as good as I was hoping he would be. And if that's the case, I mean, right now you can get Chase Brown for less than a first. And I mean, I know people hate trading away players like Chase Brown at this point. This is going to be one of those kind of sunk cost fallacies where the price that they had to pay to acquire him heading into this season was so much higher than where he's at now. People don't want to trade him, but I think you can make a relatively fair offer. And at the end of this year, if Joe Burrow comes back for the end of it, or just heading into 2026, even like he's going to be back to worth a first plus just because of the offensive environment that he's in. So I would absolutely be looking to acquire Chase Brown, even though I don't see the production changing. So I'm going to go fact on the production, but it's going to be an immediate turnaround as soon as Burrow gets back. I'm going to switch over to wide receiver. In my mind, wide receiver gets a little bit interesting in this type of discussion because that's where we have options going both ways. We did have a group kind of started off underperforming, just couldn't really get it going the first few weeks. Nico Collins, Brian Thomas Jr., AJ Brown, Ladd McConkey kind of were all in that range of back end wide receiver ones for kind of redraft season. So people were expecting them to come out and just produce. And I mean, Nico Collins has not, he had a touchdown. They started coming out and they got the Bengals with their beat up team. So Nico Collins has turned it around. Brian Thomas Jr., there's a lot going on in Jacksonville. So I'm a little bit disappointed there. I don't think Jacksonville is going to turn it around all that much from a passing game perspective. I think this is a Shane Waldron issue there. And I know I was talking to Tim earlier. We have kind of very similar feelings about Travis Hunter and Brian Thomas Jr. Just expected way, way more out of both of the Jacksonville wide receivers. We just really haven't been getting it. To some extent, it's going to be it's the Shane Waldron effect. They're just misusing their wide receivers. Trevor Lawrence has been not great. He's been okay. I mean, they did go out and get a win against the Chiefs last week. So I'm not going to throw everything on Lawrence. I think he's doing fine. I think he has the ability to support wide receivers, but the scheme is not working right now. So they're going to have to get that turned around. I don't know what else there is to say about AJ Brown. I mean, something's not right in Philadelphia right now. We'll see if they can get it turned around now that they've kind of got the mini bye following the Thursday night game. He was a little bit more involved again, but I mean, if they're going to get him more involved and lose to the Giants like that, I cannot imagine that Sirianni is going to keep calling those plays. So, I mean, I'm concerned about AJ Brown from what he's been expected to be. I think we just have to accept that this is what the Philadelphia wide receivers are now. This is their offense. It's what they want to do is to run the ball when they can. If they get forced into passing, they will. But you're gonna have some games where they just don't get enough work. Now, kind of the last player there, Ladd McConkey, is really interesting to me. I think Ladd McConkey is a buy. So he has not been producing. He's kind of that third wide receiver out of the Chargers wide receivers this year. And I don't think he hasn't really taken a step back in terms of talent. I mean, it's really just that the other two wide receivers, Keenan Allen and Quentin Johnston, have really played well so far this year. I kind of believe in the Quentin Johnston turnaround. I don't think he's a great player, but I think they're using him the right way this year. And we're seeing the fruits of that. So that's one of those things to keep in mind is that coaching matters a lot in terms of the scheme for wide receivers. If you get into the right situation, a wide receiver that's been left for dead can easily turn it around. Let's go ahead and bring Tim. Looks like we got you back. So before we keep going, do you have any concerns on Ladd? I know he's kind of underproduced. He's that third wide receiver now after kind of just owning that room last year.
I don't. I think Keenan Allen is a rental at best.
Yep.
Every year he plays, it's less and less likely he'll be good. We were all kind of shocked he was good this year. And Ladd is good, even though the fantasy points aren't really hitting right now. But his production profile is good. He has efficiency. He has the ability to separate. I don't see a reason to fade Ladd. I think he's an excellent buy, regardless of where your team is at. I would happily go for him as a rebuilder as well.
Do you think Ladd's going to perform better in the second half?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. See, that's my concern. Is I don't know that in my mind, I wonder whether he will or not, because Keenan actually is playing well. Got to credit the guy. I had kind of left him for dead after that horrendous Chicago season. Sorry, my dog's scaring me with some of these coughing noises over here. Hopefully people aren't picking that up too much. But yeah, so Keenan Allen is playing well. Quentin Johnston, I think, is becoming a real player. So I could see the Chargers just kind of spreading the ball around, and Ladd just isn't particularly fantasy relevant this year. Not that he's not playable, just he's not going to be what we hoped he would be. But I'm 100% with you that I don't see the Keenan block as a long-term thing. I think Keenan's going to be gone. And then, they drafted Trey Harris and Keandre Lambert Smith to try and find someone to fill that X position. They decided to bring back Keenan Allen, which, okay, he looks good. So maybe there was something there, and maybe he is just good in blocking those players. But I think more likely they realized they didn't have players that were ready to contribute yet, and went and filled a hole. And I think once we see Keenan move on, all of a sudden it's going to turn back into Ladd being that top option. And then we just won't see as many targets go out to that X position. So,
and it is worth noting that Ladd, QJ has gotten very lucky on touchdowns so far, which is kind of inflated his numbers a bit. He is getting more targets than you would think, but he's still not the target leader on this team. And Ladd has gotten kind of unlucky. He had that punt return for a touchdown that was called back last week. He has the talent. He's shown the talent he produced last year. I think we just as a redraft community just got over our skis on these young second-year wide receivers and just being absolutely certain that they were all going to break out even further. Some of them don't. That's just how football works. But Ladd's still good. He's just not going to be a top 12 wide receiver, most likely, in any given year.
Okay. Quick note there on some of the Chargers receivers. Trey Harris left for dead. I don't think so. I think this is just one of the standard rookie curves. In my mind, it's they drafted him. He was great against man coverage in college.
Yeah.
I think he's just he's a young wide receiver that just needs to be brought along. So I wouldn't mind going out and picking up a couple shares cheaply, just to see what happens with Keenan Allen in the offseason. If Keenan Allen retires, then that's Trey's job at that point, unless he actually is beat out by Keandre Lambert Smith, who I think is a good player, but I don't think he's a fantasy difference maker by any stretch.
I don't know. It kind of seemed like he was beat out by Keandre Lambert Smith before they signed Keenan Allen. It's impossible to tell now, but
yeah, exactly. Now they're kind of both blocked, and I'm at that point. I'm happy to take the shot on. What was Trey Smith, a third round pick?
I think he was late second, I believe.
Even better. And so he's got some draft capital there, and especially now that I mean, it's not like Keandre Lambert-Smith is playing and having that chance to step up and really just solidify himself above. All they're doing is kind of the backup reps in practice. So I don't think that's going to get nearly as much weight. It'll be, how do these guys play next year when they come into the season during training camp?
Yeah.
So
pretty ironic that the only position the Chargers have depth in is the one that's been healthy all year.
Yep. So, okay. Getting a little bit over time. Let's try and finish up with tight ends here. So tight end at the top has really kind of been a mess. Bowers and Kittle are hurt. Laporta started slow. Even Trey McBride hasn't been Trey McBride. He's a little bit below where he was last year. Long term, are you concerned about any of these guys? I mean, these are kind of the dynasty top 4 heading into the season. Are you dropping any of these guys out? Are there concerns there, or is this just they're injured or, random week-to-week variance starting slow?
I've got to be honest. I don't see it with Sam Laporta. I just don't. I think it was purely he got 10 touchdowns as a rookie. This Lions offense is more than willing to spread the ball around besides Amon-Ra, and
100%.
Amon-Ra's never going away. Jahmyr Gibbs is probably never going away. They would like Jameson Williams to never go away. So it's not like his situation is in the point where they could really improve that much. They're already like the offense, and he's not doing that much in the offense. So I personally think he's very overinflated in value still. I would be looking to move him for Colston Loveland plus, Harold Fannin plus. I would add a plus to get to Tyler Warren. I would add a plus to get to McBride or Bowers because I think those two are fine. I think, as
so
you said,
you're really looking to pivot off to either go get the known quantities or the guys who you feel are undervalued and are going to be moving up and get a value on them with him.
Yep. I mean, even like the guys that are right in that range, like Warren, Kraft, I like them better straight up than Laporta. So if you find someone that still values Laporta more than that, I would make that pivot right this second because I just don't see it with Laporta. I think he's fine. He'll be a good back end tight end 1 for a while, but I just don't think he has like the tight end 1 overall type of potential, especially as more and more talent comes into this league now.
Doesn't have the tight end 1 overall potential. He hit overall tight end 1.
Correct. And Brock Bowers was in college, and
Fair.
Trey McBride was sitting behind
it's not like
Zach
Brock
Ertz.
Bowers is playing right now.
And he has similar amount of fantasy points as Laporta.
I'm not going to argue that one. I definitely with like Bowers and Kittle. I'm not really concerned about their outlook. Obviously, Kittle's getting a little bit older. So like you worry a little bit about that longevity, but I mean, in that San Francisco offense, he's hyper efficient. So I think he can get away with, I think he'll be one of those players that can kind of age gracefully at the tight end position. Cause I think they can just like slowly ease off some of the extra snaps that he just dominates as a run blocker. And I mean, I think they'll still be able to get the explosive plays out of him for a few years to come. Bowers, obviously, I mean, I still think he's essentially a generational talent. I have no concerns there. This to me screams like he's just not healthy. So I'm kind of glad they're just sitting him out for a couple games to let him get right. Because I want to see the Brock Bowers, not Brock Bowers, at 80% still being able to, what do you have, like 100 yards in the first half he was playing? Like, I mean, we've seen what he can do. So I'm all in on Bowers. If anyone's giving a discount, I'm taking it. With Laporta, I think I'm willing to keep the longevity there. He's so young still that like he's in a good offense that isn't going to change. They're going to use him. I think you're right where you're not necessarily going to get the top end performances, but there's something to be said at tight end for someone who's that involved in the offense. He has been disappointing to start the season, but in my mind, that seems more game plan, game script, kind of situational result rather than Laporta's bad all of a sudden. I think it's just they've had matchups that they've liked elsewhere on the field. I think Laporta's going to get his turn at some point in the season, and maybe you just have to live with a few more highs and lows with a guy like Laporta. But I mean, he's definitely going to get another contract either with the Lions or somewhere else. And when you pay someone like Laporta, he's going to be a focal point of the offense. So
hilariously, I think he's basically just the new TJ Hawkinson, where it's like he's your tight end 4 to 6 every season. He's fine. He'll have weeks that'll give you 30 points, and he'll have a bunch of weeks that'll give you 5, and you just kind of are happy with him, but he's not going to ascend past that, and he's not going to decline past that either.
It's the Iowa way. That's what we do. So flip side on tight ends, you mentioned one of them already, Tyler Warren. Another kind of riser for me. Harold Fannin started producing right away, which surprise, surprise that we're talking about Harold Fannin on this show. But like, how are you treating these guys? Like, did Tyler Warren just immediately jump into kind of that elite tier of tight ends for you? And where are you holding Fannin's value at this point? Because I mean, I feel like he got a big bump after kind of that first usage in that first week, and now he's kind of been a little bit slower, but still very involved in the offense.
Yeah.
How do you feel about these rookies that have been overperforming what people were expecting coming into the season?
A lot of people love Tyler Warren, and he is good. I don't think he's part of that top 3 for me. I think he's the next tier down as the top of the next tier. The Colts have so many weapons, and Steichen has kind of shown a disposition to just whoever's playing the best is getting the ball, which has mostly been Jonathan Taylor so far this season. I think the gadget usage is nice. It is a safe floor. He is basically like a tight end Deebo Samuel. I think he is worth looking at if, like I was saying, if you could swap Laporta for him straight, or like Laporta plus something minor for him, that's something I'd be looking to do. I wouldn't be looking to down tier to him off of the top 3. And he's not necessarily someone where it's like, I have to go give 2 firsts for this guy. I don't think he's a Bowers level type of player, even though he is having a good rookie season for sure. For Harold Fannin, he's a buy for me, obviously. He looks good. He's producing, even though it's not really turning into touchdowns or as many yards as we would like at this point, but he's earning targets. He's obviously in Kevin Stefanski's plans, and I don't think Njoku is a Brown next year. He's a pending free agent.
Do you think Njoku's a Brown at the end of this year?
They're kind of more in it in their own minds than they would like to admit, I think, as far as like, the Ravens suck, the Bengals suck, the Steelers are beatable. Stefanski has gone through enough bad seasons that I bet he's like, I wonder if we could squeak into the playoffs with this defense. I think that's why they went to Dylan Gabriel, because it was so obvious that Flacco's going to lose them more games than he wins. I think they're wondering if Gabriel can at least just be a game manager, like a rookie or Brock Purdy type of guy, because Stefanski can work with that. Yeah. And so I don't think they trade Njoku unless they just lose every game up until the trade deadline, but I think that's next week, isn't it? Week 7 is trade deadline. So
I thought it was midway through. I thought they had through week 8.
Possibly. But either way, like, there's only a couple more games left.
I would say it's got to be coming soon.
I
think I'm with you on Warren. Like, I will admit, Warren is achieving more success than I envisioned. I had him as the clear tight end 3 in this class. I was higher on Loveland, higher on Fannin. No surprise. Anyone's been paying attention. I did like Warren. I thought all 3 of those guys were going to hit at an NFL level. I don't know that Colston Loveland's been healthy enough to hit yet, so I'm hoping to see that turn around in the second half of this season. But I mean, I'm inclined to buy any rookie tight end that comes out and produces the way that Warren has. It's traditionally been a position that it takes a few years, really.
Yeah.
So, I mean, yes, we've had Brock Bowers come in. We had Sam Laporta come in a few years ago. So, like, we've seen it more frequently. But I think people forget how often it has taken people 2-3 years before they're really hitting their stride at the tight end position. You basically have to know the blocking schemes and you have to know the passing schemes.
Yep.
Unless you're a very, very specific skill set player where they're only going to play you on passing downs situation. Like sometimes we see that, but I don't think that's the case with Tyler Warren. I think they're expecting to use him as a full-time tight end for everything.
Yep.
And I mean, I'm inclined to buy. I don't know that he's quite in that elite tier like you were saying, but I mean, it's hard to look at what he's done and not be extremely bullish for the next 5+ years.
Yeah.
Fannin, I mean, with you, I'm just like a buy on Fannin. I think he's, in my mind, he's a top 7 or 8 dynasty tight end. What we saw right away from him, what the coaching staff saw, honestly, is more important. They said, this is a guy that we have to get the ball. I mean, they designed plays for him. He had a gimmick usage you're talking about with Tyler Fannin. He had a wildcat carry too.
Yeah.
You don't see that out of rookies that aren't looked at as one of the best players on their team.
Yep.
So, I mean, the production hasn't been there yet for Fannin. He's tight end 16 on the year so far, so not even in as tight end 1 production, but the usage is there. He's also splitting looks with David Njoku. Like the usage of that tight end room has been awesome so far this year. Yep. As soon as Njoku's out of the picture, expect Fannin to just absolutely take off. Mm-hmm. I mean, I think he's been playing like 80-ish% of snaps. I think that would go up to 90 plus with Njoku out of the way. And his route share would be basically every pass play.
Yeah. And Quinshon Judkins looks good. So play action.
Yeah, I mean, everything. I'm okay. Credit to the Browns. Like, they've kind of been the butt of the joke over the last few years. But, I mean, even Dylan Gabriel looked good in his first start. Yeah. I mean, didn't put up huge numbers, but looked competent, which, you know, with that defense.
Yeah. We clowned them for the Travis Hunter trade, but Mason Graham's looked better than Travis Hunter so far.
Yep. Yeah. One really quick question it looks like we got in the chat. So we've got Sutton, Keenan, Dubs, or Swift PPR pick 1. Off the hip, I'm going Keenan there.
Sutton for me.
Okay. I can see that. I mean, I think it's definitely one of those two. Green Bay is going to spread the ball around too much. And frankly, are they going to need to pass against this version of the Cincinnati Bengals? Yeah. And I'm just worried about Swift. He has not been efficient. I struggle to trust him.
Yep.
And then another one, Pitts, Otten, or Taylor.
That's rough. They're all good plays.
I think I'm going Otten this week. We know Godwin is out, so that's going to open up some space in the middle of the field.
Yeah.
And honestly, I don't think Pitts' matchup is particularly good for him. I know when I'm projecting out, I think he's like down towards the bottom of my tight ends this week. Mason Taylor's interesting. I don't think the matchup is great, but the usage has been awesome the last couple of weeks. And maybe he does just keep taking that step and becomes like the second guy. So
yeah,
I think I would be okay with either of those two options, Otten or Taylor, but I probably would not go with Pitts this week.
Yeah, I think I would rank them Otten, Pitts, Taylor. Just the only reason I like Pitts is because Mooney is out once again. So
That's a good point too.
there's basically just Bijan, London, and then pray for whoever the third target ends up being. But it could easily be Ray McLeod because Falcons. So
Yep, absolutely. Well, we are again a little over Dynasty in 30. We'll call it Dynasty in 50 today. But thank you for bearing with us. Absolutely love having you all in. Make sure you like and subscribe on the video below. And until next Saturday, this has been Dynasty in 30.
Thanks for listening. Be sure to like and subscribe wherever you watch or listen to podcasts. We'll be back next week for more ways to win your league.